So Star Wars Outlaws so far has, you know, gotten reviews that we're talking. So by tomorrow the game full releases. It's in its early access period right now that you could have paid a stupid amount of money to be a final beta tester or whatever. We're going to talk about that in one moment because I try to tell everybody not to do that. I try to tell people not to do that all the time. And this is going to be a prime example of why. So, obviously the early critic reviews for the game are pretty solid. I don't think it's going to be anything that's blowing anybody away, but it's a good enough experience to be entertaining for people, especially if you're a Star Wars fan in general. At around a 77, a high 70 score is pretty respectable. So that means this game, content-wise, is going to be pretty entertaining, probably. Probably not defining in any way. It's not going to be something that goes down in the, you know, annals of video gaming history as something that changed the way we think about gaming or anything, but it's going to be pretty entertaining for people, right? Unfortunately, we have performance issues. And thank you, Soup, for this. Now, I got a very rare thank you from Soup. At least, I don't think you've necessarily said thank you, but it's basically the same thing. I told him not to buy into this, right? As I tell almost everybody to not buy into these stupid 2 to 3 days of early access for games, because it is usually not worth it for the amount of money you're paying anyways. Most of the time, you don't get any advantage by being in early anyways. Maybe if it's a competitive game, there could be some kind of small advantage to begin with, but usually they're just hyping you up about playing the game 2 to 3 days earlier than you would have, and you're paying stupid amount of money for it, and it's almost always broken. Almost always broken. Whether it be, you know, bugs for the game or servers for the games, across the board, performance is always kind of donked out for these things. And I always refer to this as, if you're buying this early access version of these games, you're usually just a final beta tester. It's the truth, man. It's the truth. It's so crazy that so many people buy into this early access of these games when it literally does nothing for you. And usually the games are broken anyways. You're just throwing away money and exacerbating an issue that these developers and publishers have been pushing upon us as consumers for so long anyways. So here we are with Ubisoft has asked a bunch of Star Wars Outlaws PS5 players to install an update and restart their save files from scratch due to game-breaking bugs. Quote, if you continue on a prior save, you will unfortunately face issues and progression blockers. Also, players paid $110 plus US for early access. Right? What was that? Star Wars Outlaws 10 out of 10. Yeah. Yeah, Ferret, I agree. Yeah. You say Pinky should cover early access gaming news of what will happen the next day? Yeah, they all start having to try to do that. So here we are. Here's an actual article about this too. Star Wars Outlaws PS5 players asked to start an all-new save to avoid progression blocking bugs. C3PO, no! That's pretty good. A number of Star Wars Outlaws players have been advised to restart their game with a new save file the day before the actual launch date. You know what I mean? Like, basically, early access has been going on for 2 days already. Yeah. See, again, I mean, you literally should have just saved the money and waited till the full release. What they should be doing is refunding people. But will they? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Ubisoft should be refunding players that... so apparently PS5 players that bought into this early access version, they should be getting refunded the amount that they paid over what the base game is. That's what should happen here, but they won't. There's no way. So, a number of Star Wars Outlaws players have been advised to restart their game with a new save file to avoid problems with progression. Ubisoft last night emailed some PS5 players asking them to update their copy of Outlaws to the latest version following a chunky bug-busting patch. To best experience the Outer Rim, we rolled out a maintenance to make sure everyone is playing their latest version of the game. Ubisoft email reads, as one of the players affected who had access to an older version of the game, we are aware you might be encountering some issues after this recent patch. Yeah. We sincerely apologize for any inconvenience this may have caused, like losing 2 days worth of gameplay. Ubisoft asked those affected players to start a new save to fully enjoy Star Wars Outlaws as our team intended, and noted that if players continue to play on an earlier save file, they will unfortunately face issues and progression blockers, dude. Our friends over at Digital Foundry received the email above. Tom Morgan informed me when he captured footage for Star Wars Outlaws a few days ago, his PS5 was on version 1.000.002. On Xbox Series X and S, meanwhile, he was on version 1.0.0.3. Please note this email has not been sent out to all Star Wars Outlaws players. Guides team and Eurogamer's deputy editor Chris did not receive it. This news from UB has caused some discontent among Star Wars Outlaws players who had paid more to gain early access via the Gold and Ultimate editions of the game. Quote, I just got this email this morning. Wish I knew that before I played 5 hours last night. Honestly, this game is testing my patience. Complained one such player over on Reddit. I'm disgusted. Paid $110 and played all night. 12-hour stretch. Added another. This is how UB thanks us. Yep. Pretty disgusting. Yeah. Pretty gross, man. Get lessons on money spending. Yeah. I think the problem for a lot of people is they get so hyped up about this stuff, about certain games. There's certain people that are just so AAA hungry too, you know, because this is where it happens more often than not, is the AAA side, right? You get a lot of these very, very intriguing universes and you know, beloved universes and franchises and stuff too, and they hype these games up, and unfortunately there are a lot of people that don't learn their lesson, right? They just don't learn their lesson, and they continue to do it, which sucks. Which is why I always try to prompt people. It's like, don't buy into this. Think about what you're doing. We've all been bit, dude. We've all been bit to some extent in the industry by bullcrap, right? And this is the stuff I'm talking about. This is consistent, constant. This happens all the time, dude. All the time they bait people with this crap, you know. And, you know, I mean, it literally feels like probably 9 out of 10 times the early access period of 2 to 3 days or whatever, you're literally just a final beta tester. It's always broken to some extent, you know? So, I don't know. Again, as I always say with people too, if you've got a developer and a publisher that you really trust, you know, that has been doing good stuff for a long time, and you have a lot of faith in them to push out a high quality product, and they've always done well by you, then by all means, dude, you know. But Ubisoft's not it, man. You know what I'm saying? Anybody that's going to sit here and try and act like they had faith that Star Wars Outlaws was going to come out and be without issues like this in its early access period is out of their minds. It's Ubisoft. There's always the potential for them to screw stuff like this up, you know? Yeah. The quadruple A gaming experience. Yeah. So, again, I mean, from the reviews and everything, I think the game's content's probably pretty solid. It looks like it's pretty entertaining and stuff, but look, man, I say it all the time. Performance is key. Performance is, you can't enjoy content if you don't have the performance. And now what do you have? You've got a bunch of people that paid. This is their own fault. They paid way too much to play this game early when there was no sense in that at all anyways. And now, you know, they're having to replay hours and hours and hours of content. Literally almost on the release date anyways. People got to start learning their lessons, man. It's pretty bad. Pretty bad.